I'm telling you guys right now, the woods behind my town aren't normal. Everyone says they're haunted, but the truth is way more terrifying than any ghost story. Last month, me and my two best friends, Leo and Maya, found something that shouldn't exist. We were looking for a spot to build a fort when Leo tripped over something metallic. It was a heavy, rusted steel hatch buried under a pile of old tires and dead leaves. It looked like it hadn't been opened since the Cold War, but when we pulled it open, we didn't find dust and spiders. We found a ladder leading down into literal 5 grams heaven. We climbed down about 20 feet, and the air changed. It went from smelling like damp dirt to smelling like expensive electronics. At the bottom of the ladder, there was a heavy door with a keypad. It was already cracked open. We pushed it, and I swear my heart stopped. It was a high-tech gaming bunker. I'm talking 3 full setups, 4090 GPUs, wraparound old monitors, and those crazy expensive ergonomic chairs. The walls were lined with soundproofing foam and glowing purple RGB strips. It was like a professional e-sports team had just vanished and left their headquarters behind. Maya was the first one to sit down. She hit a master power switch on the wall, and the whole room hummed to life. The internet speed was insane. We ran a test, and it was like 5,000 megs per second. We're talking zero ping, literally. We were hyped. We thought we had hit the jackpot. Who would leave this here? There were no names, no photos, just these top-tier machines ready to go. We spent the first 3 hours just playing. We were dominating every lobby in Valorant and Warzone because our frames were so high. We felt like kings of the underground. But looking back, we should have realized that nothing this expensive is ever truly free. On the second night, things started getting weird. We decided this bunker was going to be our secret. We didn't tell our parents or anyone at school. We'd sneak out at 9 p.m. and stay there until 2 a.m. I was in the middle of a clutch 1v4 when Maya's monitor suddenly flickered to black. She gasped, thinking she broke it, but then a single window popped open in the center of her screen. It was a notepad file. All it said was, "You play better when you're being watched." We all froze. We looked around the room, but it was just the 3 of us. Leo tried to trace the file, but it had no source. We laughed it off, thinking it was just a weird prank. But the prank didn't stop. The next day, I was scrolling through the local Facebook group for our town, and I saw a post that made my blood run cold. Someone had posted a blurry photo of the woods behind my house. It was taken from a high angle, looking down at the hatch. The caption said, "The squirrels aren't the only ones watching the hatch anymore." And attached was a second photo of the hatch wide open at 11:45 p.m. That was literally the exact time we were down there playing. Our hearts dropped. Someone knew we were in there, and they were standing right above us in the dark, watching. I told Leo and Maya we needed to lock the hatch from the inside. We went back down that night, terrified, but we couldn't stay away from those 4090 rigs. We locked the heavy steel wheel on the hatch. We felt safe. We started up a game, but 20 minutes in, all 3 of our monitors went black at the exact same time. Then, the speakers in the room crackled. A voice came through. It sounded completely distorted, like they were using a voice changer. You think a lock can keep me out of my own house? Suddenly the RGB lights turned solid red, and we heard the sound of someone slowly typing on a keyboard, ... coming from the empty corner of the room. We all spun around, but there was no one there. Then a hidden projector on the ceiling turned on, shining a massive video feed onto the wall. Our jaws dropped. It was a live grid of security cameras, but they weren't cameras of the bunker. They were cameras inside our houses. There was a feed of my living room, Maya's kitchen, and Leo's bedroom. We were literally paralyzed with fear. The distorted voice laughed through the speakers. You guys have been great beta testers, but the trial period is over. Now we see how you perform under actual pressure. That's when we heard a loud, heavy click. The steel hatch above us had been electronically locked from the outside. Maya started panicking, screaming at the speakers to let us go. Leo ran to the ladder and started shaking it, but the hatch wouldn't budge. The voice came back on. On the center desk, there is a red flash drive. Plug it into the main terminal. We looked at the desk, and sure enough, a small red USB drive was sitting right next to the mousepad. It hadn't been there when we arrived. If you plug it in, the hatch opens, the voice said, but the drive contains a virus that will completely wipe every electronic device connected to your home networks, your parents' bank accounts, your school files, your entire digital lives deleted if you don't plug it in. The air vents close in 10 minutes. A massive digital timer appeared on the master wall monitor. Counting down from 10 o'clock, we were trapped 20 feet underground. The air was already starting to feel heavy, and we had to choose between destroying our families, entire digital lives, or suffocating in a high-tech tomb. Maya was crying, saying we had to plug it in. I was trying to find another way out, tearing at the soundproofing foam on the walls to see if there was a backup exit. But under the foam, there was nothing but solid, reinforced concrete. We were completely helpless. Leo was just standing by the main terminal, staring at the red flash drive. He looked incredibly pale, almost like he knew something we didn't. With 5 minutes left on the clock, Maya grabbed the flash drive. "I'm doing it," she sobbed. "I can't breathe in here." But before she could plug it in, Leo reached out and snatched it from her hand. We thought he was trying to save us, but then he looked at me, and his eyes were filled with tears. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "They said they would delete my dad's medical records if I didn't bring you guys here." My heart stopped. The betrayal hit me harder than the lack of oxygen. Leo hadn't tripped over the hatch by accident. He had led us directly into a trap. He had been in contact with whoever was on the other end of those speakers the entire time. Leo plugged the red drive into the terminal himself. The master monitor flashed green, and we heard the heavy electronic lock on the hatch click open. Maya didn't even look back. She scrambled up the ladder as fast as she could. I stood there staring at Leo. "Why?" I asked, my voice cracking. Leo didn't answer. He just stared at the floor, holding his head in his hands. The distorted voice came through the speakers one last time. "Excellent performance, Leo. Your debt is cleared. As for the rest of you, thanks for the data." I realized then that this wasn't just a random bunker. It was a sick, twisted social experiment run by someone with unlimited resources. We got out, but our lives were completely ruined. By the time I walked into my house, my dad was on the phone with the bank, panicking because their accounts had been completely drained. Maya's family lost everything on their home computers. And Leo? He moved away 3 days later. His family packed up in the middle of the night and just vanished. I haven't heard from him since. But the worst part is, yesterday I was editing a video on my computer at home. Suddenly my webcam light turned solid green, and a single notepad file popped up on my desktop. It said, "We missed you. See you in Season 2. Comment if I should go back to the woods to find them."